So look, Tulsi Gabbard cannot stop humiliating herself now that she's made the full turn, right? She's on the Trump team. I have no doubt she wants a spot in the Trump administration if he were to win. And so she's out there riding for him hard, trying to get him elected. But her problem is her arguments are complete hack bullshit. That's her problem. She still likes to do this thing where she pretends like Trump is anti-war. So let's listen, and then I'll break it down for you in some more specifics.
I have a very simple message for my Democrat friends, my independent friends, those who may not be sure about who they're voting for in this election. Dick Cheney has just made the choice very clear. A vote for Kamala Harris is a vote for Dick Cheney, the architect of everything that has gone wrong in the Middle East for the last few decades. And so it's interesting because if you listen to the New York Times or some of the other mainstream media, they're saying, oh, don't expect much from Kamala Harris in the way of policies and details and plans, and we're not going to know much about what kind of president she's going to be because she doesn't have much time. They're conveniently ignoring the fact that she's been there working in the White House the last 3.5 years alongside Joe Biden. She's been the last one in the room, according to her, as these big decisions are being made. But we look at who she says, her response to the Dick Cheney announcement today was that she was honored to have his endorsement. And we got military veterans in the House. Got a lot of you who probably served in the Middle East like I did. And so it sickened me, Tucker, to read those words today, both from Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, and Kamala Harris, because we have people who we care very much about who were killed in those wars because of Dick Cheney. Kamala Harris has told us all we need to know about what kind of commander-in-chief she would be. And I don't know about you, but I would not trust her for a moment with the lives of my brothers and sisters in uniform.
Such hack bullshit. So, all right, let's walk through it. She says, a vote for Kamala is a vote for Dick Cheney. That's what she says. Okay, Tulsi. So a vote for Trump is a vote for Tom Cotton and Mike Pompeo and Lindsey Graham and the 47 other neocon warmongers that staffed his administration before and will staff his administration again. Look, we can play this game. You want to play this game? Let's play this game. And guess what? There are more neocon warmongers still with the Republicans and Trump than there are with the Democrats. There are some that are with the Democrats, no doubt. More are with the Republicans. So do you want to play this game? Or do you want to just have the conversation about policy? Because the conversation about policy is more fruitful and more substantive and more realistic. So let's have that conversation about policy. Do I have problems with Joe Biden's foreign policy? To say the least, I do. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, throw her in there because she's the vice president. But let me ask you a question. This, Tulsi, who pretends like she's so principled and she's just a truth teller. Did she give Biden any credit for following through and ending the war in Afghanistan? Actually had the balls to do it as opposed to Trump, who just virtue signaled about it. Did she give him any credit? One of the things Tulsi ran on when she ran for president in 2020 is that she wants to end the war in Afghanistan. She talked about it all the time. All the time. Then Biden actually does it, and what happened? Oh, that's right. She ran and she hid, and she didn't say a word in support of what Biden did. Why? Because the media was beating up on him over it, and his poll numbers were tanking at the time, and the Republicans were beating up on him. So in other words, what we've set up here is an incentive structure where no president is ever going to want to end any other war for the rest of our lives, because nobody came in and stated the obvious, which is this is the fucking right thing to do. Yes, it was ugly. Yes, it was messy. But anytime we were to pull out of Afghanistan, the puppet government was going to collapse. It was a puppet government. They lasted less than a week. They lasted a few days before the Taliban took back over. It didn't matter if we did that when we did, or we did it in 2027, or we did it in 2048. That was going to happen. And somebody needs to come out and tell the truth and say, you know what? It's still the right thing to do. It's still the right thing to do to pull out, and it's good that he did it. So she didn't say a word in support of it, even though she virtue signaled and pretended like ending the war in Afghanistan was a big priority of hers. Turns out when somebody actually does it and it gets a little messy, she runs for the hills and runs away from her principles. By the way, has she said a single fucking word in support of Joe Biden for massively reducing the drone war? No, nothing. So the principled one is hiding when some of the things that she wanted to happen actually happen and Biden gets shit for it. She's running and hiding over it. Now, by the way, this is where a reasonable person would say, yeah, but Kyle, Joe Biden is arming and funding a genocide in Gaza. You're 100% correct. And you know what? Tulsi supports that. She's made crystal clear she supports that. She is a neocon warmonger on the issue of Israel, just like RFK Jr. Virtue signals as anti-war when it comes down to it in favor of the genocide in Gaza. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So now let's get to Trump in particular. Trump didn't follow through and end the war in Afghanistan. He didn't reduce the drone war. In fact, it was the exact opposite. Trump increased the drone strikes over 400%. Say the list with me, y'all. You're the only people on the internet who know this, and you guys need to spread this far and wide because they're facts. Trump increased the drone strikes over 400%. Trump did 2,243 drone strikes in just his first 2 years as president. That's more than Obama over 8 years. Trump kept us in Iraq and Afghanistan. The civilian deaths in Afghanistan spiked 330% under Trump. Trump bombed Syria twice. He also bombed Somalia. He occupied a third of Syria to, quote, take the oil. He let Israel illegally annex the Golan Heights against international law. He assassinated a top Iranian general, General Soleimani, and that guy was on the ground fighting ISIS. They tried to coup Venezuela. He ripped up the Iran agreement. By the way, there's never been better evidence of this guy's a neocon warmonger. He gave the neocons everything they wanted vis-a-vis Iran. He ripped up that agreement, which was working to a T. He ripped it up and got us back on a war footing with Iran when we had succeeded in getting back towards normalization and de-escalating. He got in there and re-escalated it. And you got nothing to say. You want to act like, oh, the only warmongers are on the Democratic side. Are you out of your fucking mind? Are you out of your mind? This guy armed Saudi Arabia as they did a genocide and then vetoed a bill to try to stop us from arming them. Again, she has nothing to say about any of that. Nothing to say about how he said he wants war with Mexico in his second term. Nothing to say about how Trump is to the right of Biden when it comes to Israel. And Trump says stuff like we need to let them finish the job. And Trump uses Palestinian as a slur. Nothing to say about how he dropped the Moab, the mother of all bombs on Afghanistan, or ramped up the defense budget every year, stacked his administration with his own neocons. She's got nothing to say. This is hack bullshit. Tulsi Gabbard cares about Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard wants a position in that administration, so she's humiliating herself and going around and saying things that she knows are not true. She knows it. People might look at me and look at my show recently and say, Kyle, you've been really hard on people like Russell Brand and RFK and Tulsi Gabbard. And the reason I am is because I know, as a matter of fact, they fucking know better. They know better. It's not like somebody who's wrong and they've always been wrong and there's never been much hope. No, these are people who theoretically, seemingly knew better not that long ago, and now they've gone full hack propagandist. So that's why she deserves it. That's why she fucking deserves it. So if you want to do your little virtue signal about vote for Kamala, vote for Dick Cheney. Okay, a vote for Trump is a vote for Tom Cotton and Mike Pompeo and Lindsey Graham. And guess what? You are more than happy to go around cheerleading for that cabal of elitist neocon warmongers. All right, guys, that's the show. Love you all very much. You know the drill. Everybody subscribe below. Everybody, if you can, please consider donating on Patreon. Unlike Tim Pool and Dave Rubin and Benny Johnson and many others, I don't take money from foreign governments. I also don't take money from shadowy billionaires. I love how that was their dodge. Hey, it was just a shadowy billionaire. Well, then you're not independent media. Shut the fuck up. This space is a cesspool, and you guys need to incentivize people to do this the right way, which is small dollar donations and the default ads as opposed to ad reads and foreign governments and shadowy billionaires. So anyway, if you do donate, thank you very much. You guys really make it work. You can also tip on YouTube if you're so inclined. That's below. And that's all I got for you. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.